All right, so we did our leak down test and everything came back pretty good. We put 100 pounds of cylinder pressure in it. It, varied in the low 90s. It held pressure with the valve train disconnected as well. I called Blueprint, their technical support, and the technical guy advised me that the leak down looked pretty good. They were happy with that, but he asked about which spark plug I was using. So I was using the AC Delco R45 TS with that extended tip. Well, he advised me that was too short of a spark plug and that I needed to change it to the NGK, let's see here, BK R5E 7938. Those are the proper one for that cylinder head. Aftermarket cylinder heads got a lot of differences between a factory cylinder head, so that's my fault. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't read the instructions far enough for that engine either. So yeah, we're going to readjust the valves and we're going to put the good plugs in it. He assured me that should fix the problem, So we're going to do that. Let's get after it. All right, so you guys have seen how long this engine has ran since I did the intake swap. Now that may have fallen out of the intake, but that's what the lifter valley looks like. Now when I got this, it did have a little bit of milky residue, but I was just going to chalk that up as that's what the inside of the intake ports look like. I was just going to chalk that up as, moisture or something like that. But let's get to adjusting. I'm going to pump this oiling system up with my drill. All right, so what I'm doing here, there's several different ways you can adjust the valves on a, combustion engine. But you can do the, I believe it's EOIC or something, where the intake opens and the exhaust is starting to close or whatever. I know how to do it, but I don't kind of know how to explain it. What I do, I get the piston all the way up. Both lifters will be down in the bore where they'll be on, like, I guess you'd call the base circle of the cam on the backside, where they're both at an even place. And then I tighten them down to 0 lash and I give them a quarter turn. Then I move on, because that's just the way I do it, and it always works pretty good. And I also use my tool that I have to pump up the oiling system to make sure the lifters are pumped up. But yeah, there's other ways to do it, but that's the way I do it. I've already made it down to 5, and now I'm gonna jump to 7. What's up? So let me tell you guys what I've been working on this morning. So we've got the Blueprint 350 engine. Let me turn this light on. We now have it mounted to my engine run stand. Now, it is short a few things, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and put everything together. We've got the valves adjusted. We got the intake manifold. I got it timed. I'm going to put it together like completely. We're going to try to get this thing to run. I'm going to go through my radiators, and I think I'm going to try my best to build a stand for that radiator to go on. I've got my 3-gallon fuel cell. I'm going to get this all put together like it's in a car, and we're going to fire it up and run it. Is it working? Yeah. All right, guys, so let's see where we're at now. So this is my engine stand set up, and I've fashioned together a 4-core radiator. Don't razz me too bad for my wooden core support. I have our fuel cell, our battery, our ignition. I've primed the carburetor. We're going to see if it just tries to hit, but fingers crossed this thing's going to work. We're going to build some compression. It's going to run right. It has the correct plugs that they wanted me to put in it. It started building a little bit of compression after I did that valve adjustment, but we'll see. So here goes nothing. roughly 205 degrees. Which is a good hot summer day for this thing. But so far, all the header tubes are burning perfect. We idled it down as low as you could possibly make it idle at a low speed. So, I don't know, man. I'm going to hot cycle a few times. And I'm just glad it's running. But yeah, I'm going to heat cycle it a couple times, let it run idle, and then we're going to do a hot compression test on it. And then we'll find out. So far, I mean, this is the best it's ran since I've got it. I'm kind of wondering, and this is just an idea, if the valves were adjusted too tight on it. So we'll see. But so far, that's the best this motor has ever sounded. So we'll go from there. But yeah, we're going to let it cool down. Like I said, it's got a pressurized cooling system on it. We're just going to roll it over here out of the way and let it cool off. And tomorrow, we'll fire it back up and see how it does. All right, guys, so we have this engine sitting where it runs. I just fired it up, warmed it up to 180 degrees. Starts good, stops good. It's burning on all 8 as far as the header tubes are showing with burning, liquid off of them. We're gonna do a compression test. I've got the gas pedal wired open. All 8 spark plugs are out. And this thing is still, get the temperature down here. This thing is still about 157 degrees on the back of the block, 140 on the heads, 156 on the block. So let's crank over and see what number 1 compression gets us. All right, and I do have a hot battery, so we got it hooked up. This is a brand new gauge from O'Reilly's that I picked up this morning. So the snap-on gauge is over there. We're not using that one right now. So we got the engine warm, fuel wired open, and we're gonna spin it over. Let's see what it does. On the wire. $35. That can't be right. That can't be right. All right, we got the snap-on gauge back on. That other one's not seating in the cylinder head properly. It doesn't look like. But here's the snap-on gauge. $90 PSI. That doesn't make much sense. Okay, so that was a fully charged battery, and it's a 750 cold cranking, or 925, I'm sorry, 750 cold cranking, 925 to 32. I've got the jump box that's fully charged on here, so let's wind it around again and see what we got. Okay, so we have that extra power. Let's hold our gauge up, try again. $95. Actually 90. That's so weird, and that's on the number 1 cylinder. So let's go through here and test the other 7 cylinders. Although I'm not as happy with this 90 pounds of compression on this, we're going to go ahead and see what the other cylinders say and see if they're pretty consistent. I'm hoping that they actually are consistent, because it would mean things would be kind of okay, but I would think this motor would have at least 120 pounds. All right, so I've just completed that compression test. Let's see what the numbers are. Now there's the spark plugs for each cylinder. Now mind you, this hadn't had a load on it. It's just been ran on a stand, just powering a water pump. Number 4 is a little weak looking. But what's gonna go down today is I am in the process of removing this Blueprint 350 back off the stand. I've started it, I've ran it. Blueprint seems to think it's gonna work pretty good. I kind of wonder if I just need to get it in the car and do some road miles. So today we're going to remove this from the stand and we're gonna stick it down in the Camaro. Ooh, I don't wanna show you that yet. But okay, I'll go ahead and show you. So I got my new tires. I got the wheels repainted. I'm waiting for the Z28 center cap. Here's the old ones, but I ordered a brand new set that away because these are falling apart and they're kind of cheap, which is probably exactly what I bought. But yeah, I'm waiting on those. My rings, I cleaned and polished them, but they're just a little rough. The problem is nobody takes their time to remove these, and they've taken a rubber mallet and try to beat them on there. So I may be ordering a new set of these rings, but they're like 200 bucks. So, but actually, I'm a big radial TA BF Goodwrench guy, especially on these muscle car style vehicles. But it's getting to the point, like the difference between these and the BFGs is almost $270. And right now, this car's needing all, you know, it's digging at the old bank account. So I kind of got to be mindful, but actually these are looking pretty darn good. I like the way they look. Not a bad looking tire. They look like they're pretty thick and rubber. So yeah, the goal today is to get that off the stand, drop it down in there, get it in the mounts. Now I don't have the transmission yet. That's going to come later. I'll put it in after everything else together. But I don't know, I might drive that to work, maybe. But I really probably need to drive the camper, man. I haven't, like I said, it ain't been out of this yard in like 2 weeks. And again, that's the worst thing you can do. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the motor off the stand, and we're gonna take and put it in the Camaro. And there it is, guys. It is set down in the car. Motor mounts are hooked up. Now we just got to rinse and repeat. Easy peasy. What's up, guys? So I screwed up a little bit. As I was planning on showing you guys kind of what I was doing with this transmission, I was going to explain a few things why I'm going one route and not the other. I've decided to put the four-speed swap off until I get the car on the road. I want to see how it drives. I want to see how this engine's going to do. And I decided to go ahead and Rick over at the R&R Transmission SkyTook, I decided to give him a call and just go ahead and have him rebuild a short shaft turbo 350 for me. Well, that's what this car's got in it. However, this car had a pretty different kind of transmission, and I wanted to show you guys a comparison between an older TH350 transmission and the turbo 350 TH350C, like what's in this car. And when I say C, that designation, that means that it was a lock-up torque converter car. So what that means, that it's not your standard turbo 350. The reason they did that was to get the torque converter to lock up and try to make a little bit more efficiency and a little bit better gas mileage. But it made them a little bit weaker. And most people that are building just your, light performance car and everything, the valve bodies aren't the same, the front pump's not the same. I even believe the case internal somewhat are a little bit different, but don't hold me to that one. They're just not good for performance usage. So what I did is I removed the TH350C, and also this car had a weird, like Buick Olds Pontiac, they call them BOP bell housings. Well, this one would fit the 403 Oldsmobile. I don't know if it fit the 400 Pontiac, but it might, and it fits this small block Chevy. So it had a real funky bell housing that I wasn't real fond of. So what I did is I had, you guys remember the 73 K5, the green and white one? Well, I had got a different turbo 350 for that one, and I took the original one out of it and just put it up because it was essentially the same thing. The clutches were burned up in it. So what I did, now that was a 4x4 transmission, but what I did is I loaded both of them up because the output shaft of the 4-wheel drive and the 6-inch and even the 8-inch, they're different lengths. So your 6-inch will be in your cars, your 8-inch will be in your pickup trucks, and the 4-wheel drive, and of course, will have adapter with whichever NP205, 203, which 205s really didn't come on that many turbo 350s, except for about 1980. That's a whole nother story. But so what he can do is he's going to take that 73 model early TH350, go ahead and get it all torn down, and then he's going to take the TH350C, take the tail shaft, the output shaft, and put it in the 4-wheel drive transmission and build that one out as a 2-wheel drive. And that way I'll have the older front pump, I'll have the older valve body. You know, it'll all be the, in my opinion, better stuff because I have no use for a lockup transmission. Like, it doesn't need it. Like, and the next thing that I'm planning on doing, and I was just going to kind of tell you guys about this, is September 28th, that weekend of that part of the month, they're having the duct tape drags up there, or down there, I should say, in Tucson, Arizona. Well, in 2020, me and Matt and his dad took this car out there, and we did trailer it, I know, but the thing was we had to be back because my wife had to be on a plane and go out of town for work. Matt had to get back to work. We didn't have any time to screw around, so like we got down there early, but we had to get back, like just bonsai trip all the way back. So what we're going to do this time is, you guys follow along and everything. Blueprint seems to be okay with this thing having 90 pounds of compression, cranking compression, and it's with, I guess, I've never seen, like I said, I've never had a motor with that low compression run. But as you saw on the stand, the motor runs, starts, shuts off. It seems to run really good. So what I've decided to do, and I asked them if, you know, would they do it, you know, and they said, oh yeah, we do it. So my plan is, me and Brandon from Okie Hot Rod Garage, and then my nephew Colin, he's bought a brand new WRX. We're gonna drive out there, man. So my goal right now, and that's why you kind of see me putting the 4-speed deal to the side, is I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get this car on the road, and maybe just a good couple 1,000-mile road trip will make this motor break in and seat in a little bit. And if it doesn't, you guys are gonna see, you know, what you know, going on a long trip like that and what having some real problems, because we're not, I would love to take a trailer and everything, but like taking an extra truck and burning all that gas, all that kind of stuff, because it's not a cheap trip, you know. So that is my plan. We're going to try to take this and race it at the duct tape drags in Tucson, Arizona on the weekend of September 28th. So that's the goal, man. So as soon as he gets that transmission done, I've got a few things to button up, put the exhaust on it and everything. This car is almost ready to run. Like another day's worth of work if I had everything here, maybe 2 days, I could have this thing up and running. And then I can, my plan is to put maybe 100 miles on it or so and kind of shake it down. And then we're gonna load it up with gear and hit the road. So that's gonna be pretty fun. We're gonna do some tent camping and just kind of sightseeing. I love the state of Arizona and New Mexico. It's just like one of my favorite little trips to go on. So that's the plan, and I'm praying that we make it. I'm praying that this motor holds together, but if it doesn't, you're gonna see. So that's the plan, guys. Let's transmission should show up at some point, and we will get cracking on this thing, but I'm looking forward to it. So if you guys, any of you guys are going out there, you probably get a chance to check out the car and all that good stuff. So thanks, guys.